Like, you see Brexit, yeah, I can't even lie to you.
No, I love her Brexit.
I can't lie to you, I've been watching Brexit lately, yeah, and it's looking kind of live still. I can't.
You just said Brexit's kind of live still.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's
Watching
funny.
them argue is actually funny.
You guys actually follow Brexit?
Yeah?
Really? What do you follow on? Do you read The Guardian?
Yeah.
Guardian?
Yeah.
You can say no.
Alright. The Guardian.
This is the 4th episode in our series on modern masculinity. In the first 3 episodes, we've spoken to lots of different men about the potential causes for this crisis in masculinity, which is so hotly debated. And in the next few episodes, I'd like to look at some of the solutions. There are lots of individuals and organisations who are trying to create support networks for men, and one of those groups is Football Beyond Borders. So I've got a personal relationship with Football Beyond Borders. Last year I chaperoned a trip that they did to Paris, and I've worked with several of their different groups doing mentoring and workshops around the media. And it's in doing that work that I've spoken to these guys and just thought, wow, these guys have so much to say around masculinity, and they're really not given the platform to speak for themselves. We seem to be very concerned with what's going on with teenage boys at the moment, but we don't exactly rush to hear what they think. So I went to speak to a group of them and asked them what they think it takes to be a man.
Yeah.
As 13-year-olds, what do you think it takes to be a man as opposed to a boy?
Yeah, being a man for me is like protecting your family and like making sure everyone is happy before you are.
To have character, to be helpful, and to stand up for what you think is right.
I feel like masculinity is misinterpreted these days. People like just go for stereotypes as in like strength and protection. Masculinity is not what you see on TV, not what you see in the magazines. Like, it's not like having the best figure, having all the females or smelling the greatest. It's about integrity, about being yourself, doing the right thing when no one's there. Being a man and being masculine is like, so being able to be like caring and have self-awareness of the people around you and the world around you as well.
What are the things that you think will like make young people kind of stressed out, especially young boys? What do you think are like the main things that people get stressed or worried about?
Society and what they think that young boys have to be or what they have to do. I think it's just society that makes people like anxious, and it kind of like sends them into like a dark place where they don't know what to do. They don't want to depend on someone else to tell them what to do, but then again they don't know what to do.
Young men like me and Fernando might be scared to try and fit into society as well, like people judging them by how they look and how they act. I think that would definitely be something which young people would be quite nervous of.
Am I going to fit in? Am I going to be able to get friends? At the end of the day, it's just about being who you are and not what people are trying to force you to be.
It does not mean you can react like that. Listen. Everyone gets so uptight and anxiety because of what happens. Listen, I saw him go, he didn't try to hurt you, he just got a bit too excited, but you shouldn't react like that. Listen, what you say is look at each other, shake hands, apologise for both going a bit hard. You two, right, go play. Come on.
FBB uses football as a way of reaching out to young people, and there are similarly professional players who use their platform in the sport to speak on issues like mental health.
I feel like Daniel Rose is a good role model. It's because he suffers from mental health like me, but he kind of like uses football to get away with it, or get away from it. So that, yeah.
What are his kind of issues? I'm not sure about.
I think it's kind of like anxiety and depression, and I have anxiety, so it's kind of like, it's nice to have someone who can speak about it, so I don't have to be scared when I talk about my mental health. I play football to get anxiety as well.
You play football?
Yeah. Football's kind of like however much time I'm playing, it's just that much time away from the world and just enjoy football.
Yeah, it's a good release of frustration. I go gym.
Yeah.
Whenever I get anxious, I talk to my mum. She always helps me out. Every time I'm anxious and if I've got something on my mind which I need to spill out, my mum's always there for me. So
that's really good. It's, you know what it is? There's a big thing about finding like the things that make you feel better in a moment. I mean, you'll laugh, yeah, but I get my nails done and I'm stressed because then it means I can't be on my phone because they've got my hands. So I've just got to like zone out and be like, okay, take my hands and get my nails done, which is very different to football, but you know what I mean? We've all got our own things.
At this point, I can't help but ask myself questions about that space of time between school and between home when it comes to young men. There's a lot of discussion about the fact that there aren't provisions for youth groups. We're missing out on vital hours of interaction with boys outside of school time, where they could be learning about social interaction and what it takes to be a man.
Hey, why did I have to wear my uniform?
Stefan,
Yeah.
could you just explain to me a little bit about the work that you guys have been doing together?
Yeah, so this term, or rather last term at Totteridge Academy, we've been working with the boys on a programme which is really about exploring masculine identity. The programme started with us kind of unpicking what masculinity meant as a term, and then moving on to thinking about how the pressures to conform to certain masculine stereotypes have impacted them already, even at their age, in year 8.
Okay, cool. So, guys, could you start off by telling me a little bit about the stereotypes around masculinity that you guys know about?
That you have to be strong and you have to be bad at school, something like that.
To not be able to cry or anything like that because you'll show your weakness and stuff.
You have to get all the girls, all of them.
You have to always go to the gym and you have to be big and strong and hench.
Okay, all right. So can you just tell me what's the work that you've done from that idea of having these stereotypes? What have you done with those stereotypes? What's the kind of work you guys have been doing with Stefan?
Do you remember the mask we live in? We talked about the front and the back of the mask. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
What's the mask we live in?
So it was when on one side of the mask we wrote what we show to people we are, and that was the side that would show us, and then on the back of the mask we wrote who we actually are and what we actually want to do.
And what did you put on your mask?
So for the front I said always like trying to act big and be like a roadman, but on the back I said that like I'm very emotional and shy, yeah.
In my mask, I put that you have to be rude to teach, you have to answer back, you have to fight. That's the world that we live in. But on the inside, I put that, like, I'm quite shy in the inside.
What difference do you think it makes? Somewhere like FBB, like there's older guys that are, you know, there's Stefan, for example. Do you find that you can like feel like you can talk to them, for example?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
what kind of impact does it make on you having them around?
It's kind of like, they kind of like fill in a role that you can't fill in a role at school, so it's kind of like, if there's something in your mind, you don't want to talk to teachers, you want to talk to like Harry or Stefan or something. And it's kind of like, it gets you away from what the teachers think. It's kind of like a different person that you can talk to instead of just normal teachers.
Yeah, you feel really safe when they're around as well. They're always welcoming, they're always funny as well. And it just makes you fit definitely in, like you're never left out.
It's more natural.
Yeah, we can speak to them without, we can speak to them
without worrying about like the way that you're saying it.
Yeah.
You feel more comfortable when you talk to them as well, way more comfortable.
I mean, so you boys know I worked as a teacher for 6 years, right, before I came to work over here. Yeah, you didn't know that though. Yeah, so one of the reasons I came over to do this kind of work was for the reasons you're talking about, because as a teacher, I didn't really have the time to put into the relationships and then really getting to know my pupils properly, and that's kind of what I cared about the most. The word that comes to mind is space. I feel like what we provide for these young men, and you know, it benefits us as well, it's not rushed. The emphasis isn't there's not so much pressure on me or Harry to deliver a certain set of results, and I actually think young people, maybe consciously or unconsciously, will like intuitively pick up on that. They know that it's not a space where we're there judging them or trying to get something out of them.
Is that what you'd say?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I hope so.
Just check in.
Yeah, maybe that's how I see it.
One more thing to say, yeah?
Yeah, what?
Zoom in my face, yeah?
And watch me bait your breath.
Arsenal is better than Tottenham.
So I really enjoyed speaking with Stefan and his boys, and I wanted to go and have a chat with some of the older kids who are in a different group in Football Beyond Borders to ask them what it's like being a young man in London.
Oh, North is dead, man.
But everything you got is out.
Wait, that?
Less chicken shops. Yeah, we've got less chicken shops.
I would only go North if I wanted to feel safe. That's it.
Why would you say that?
No, I swear, if I wouldn't feel safe, I'll go to Newcastle. I swear.
Newcastle?
Yeah,
Why do you think Newcastle's safe?
I don't know, it just sounds safe.
Why do you think Newcastle's safe? That's a weird place. Say Oxford.
No, Oxford's dead, bro.
Oxford is.
That's not safe anyway.
That's countryland, fam.
Where
So
should we go?
like boys our age sometimes don't really have that father figure or that mother at home to make sure that they're always on the right path and are always staying on track. That's when we start to seek help from like the outside world, from other men that leads to boys getting help from the wrong people.
It feels like a lot of the times when I've asked people about their role models, they do kind of mention like footballers and things like that.
And that's just unrealistic.
Are there other people that you can think of, or not really?
Mr. Welsh.
Who's Mr. Welsh? Is that a teacher?
Yeah, one of our PE teachers. He's from Newcastle.
Is that why you said you felt safe in Newcastle? Yeah. Okay.
Like, and when you hear that, one of our role models is Mr. Welsh. So a guy from Newcastle. You think to yourself, what? We're not from similar backgrounds, but with him, it's like
so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And he listens and understands. Like I think with people like that, the thing that I like the most is when you tell them something. Say I said to the teacher, oh, I don't care. They'll make me repeat the situation and remove I don't care with something else, like, and then go over it.
Yeah, helping you find those solutions to try stop that situation from happening again or making it go differently. Yeah, upstairs.
I compare myself to the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Even though he's a beast, like you expect him to be like scary, like hard, but he has a soft spot. That's like me. Like people see me and think, oh rah, he's big, scary, but when I actually have a soft heart when you get to know me. Like I'm actually a kind person. So like that links to like you can't judge a book by its cover. Like people need to communicate more. Like instead of moving when I come sit down, why do you ask me how's my day been going or something? Like try to get to know me. Don't just judge me because I'm wearing a hood. Maybe my head's cold. I don't know. Like
people don't like what they don't understand, but then people aren't looking to try and understand the things that they don't like. Started again. You answer a question.
A lot of the questions when we've asked guys, fully grown men, we've been like, who do you have the best conversations with? A lot of times they're saying girls.
No.
Do you guys feel like you can show emotion with your friends?
Sometimes, not all the time.
No, with me I can, because I know that because they're my boys. Like we have that like friendship relationship. Yeah, I know if I was to start crying in front of them, they're not gonna be like, oh, like grow up, like come on. They're gonna be like, they're gonna ask me what's wrong.
I don't care who it is. If I want to show emotion, I'll cry. I'll cry if I want to cry, innit?
Yeah.
But some people don't feel like they can't do that.
In the next episode, I'm going to look further into these intergenerational relationships and how networks can be created to provide men of different ages with support. I connected with a group called A Band of Brothers who work with men across the country coming from difficult backgrounds and enable them to be the men that they want to be. If you want to catch up on the rest of this series, make sure you like, comment and subscribe.
The generational gap ain't just youngsters against olders, it's olders against youngsters, it's judgmental.
Yeah.
It's not being able to understand where a person's coming from. Or
do you think that's also because they never really have to be around each other to understand each other?
Yeah.